Hey, my name is Leah, and I love sharing music and stories and ideas that are helping me to live more intentionally. So today, as promised, there are going to be 3 magic words, and they won't surprise you. The words won't surprise you, but maybe the usage of the words will open up something new for you. I remember going to this awards ceremony a few years ago. I was receiving a pat on the shoulder and a certificate for a children's song that I wrote, In Praise of Summer. But what I realized once I sat down and just enjoyed being in the moment was that I was actually there to discover this one singer-songwriter whose gift of expression through music just drew me in instantly. And there's no other way to say it. I fell in love. Have you ever walked into a moment and unexpectedly fallen in love with a person, with an ice cream flavor, with an animal in a shelter? Just instant love, without question and no other way to put it. So what I did on that night, I went home and I wrote a song. I love that song so much and I play it a lot, but I also shared it with that person just as in a way to express, not to be weird, but just to express no expectation, no attachment, just saying, I acknowledge you. I appreciate you. I hear your music. It resonates with me. I love you. I think I left I love you out because people can be kind of weird about those words, but that's the magic. Those are the words. I love you. Now, a couple of things. A teacher I listen to a lot named Nick Bro has started this trend of micro appreciation. And what Nick encourages his acolytes, what he encourages folks who are listening to him to do is to remember to say I love you throughout the day. So if you make a cup of coffee and you nail it, tell that coffee you love it. I love you, coffee. If you're like me and you pour milk and sugar in great amounts into your coffee, I love you, milk and sugar, for making this palatable. Whatever it might be an I love you to your family members, but it also might be something seemingly minute. I love you, little sliver of sunshine that broke through today. I love you, worms that are crawling on my kid's boot. What are you even doing? You gave us something to laugh about that we totally didn't anticipate. But it was a fun moment. I love you. Laughter with my kids. Just that little moment of saying I love you. Not just, and I don't want to say just, but we all know that gratitude, counting our blessings, that is known as a practice in psychological backgrounds as well as religious teachings to say and acknowledge those things we're grateful for. But what this practice is, taking it a little bit farther, getting personal with it, saying I love you to something very specific, and letting that emotion of love, of being in love with that thing or that person, that moment, that opportunity, elevate our vibration, elevate our energy, even just for a second, in a moment. So my definition, or certainly one of my definitions of love, has always been an acknowledgement of connection and an appreciation, a celebration of that connection. I know and believe, scientifically, we are connected to everything else in experience, in reality. But love is that moment when we acknowledge that connection to something or someone else and we revel in it. And I would go as far as to say that fear and hate are also recognizing the connection, but resisting it. And I've mentioned before in other videos that I believe the root of all suffering is resisting connection, resisting the moment. So back to love, back to the magic. In the New Testament, Jesus is quoted to have said, love your neighbor as yourself. This is like his prime directive, his highest commandment. He didn't so much say scratch the previous 10 or like hundreds that are in the Old Testament, but he says if you're trying to narrow it down and you want to get specific and you don't have like a full tablet to write on, just remember this thing. And by tablet, I mean like the stone tablet. Anyway, love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Dale Allen Hoffman is an Aramaic scholar who suggests that the idiomatic language of Aramaic, when they use that word neighbor, they didn't just mean the person who lives in the house next door to me or, somebody I might pass on the street. It means anything in creation on which I put my focus. So if that's accurate, and even if it's not Aramaic, it sure is worth considering. If Jesus's, the great teacher who many of us continue to listen to today, taught to love our neighbor as ourself, meaning everything in creation is worthy of the same amount of love that we ourselves desire and ideally give ourselves. Boy, I tell you, that changes the equation. It challenges us to see those things that we appreciate being connected to and those things that we really don't want to be connected to with the same level of honor, of worth, of appreciation. That's the challenge. That's the invitation. It's not saying we're going to nail it every time. I'm not saying I nail it every time. I certainly know the things I don't like. But I know also that when I acknowledge love, when I am in love, in a state of love, that everything is better. Everything is better. The experience of life is elevated to a level that nothing else can touch. Nothing else can bring the life experience to the height that love, appreciating the connection between individuals, between me and you, between myself and the stars at night, between any connection is an opportunity for love. And I will admit that there are places where love is challenging, but maybe those are the places where love is most needed. Maybe those are the places where we are most strongly called upon to invoke the power of magic, to bring in the magic of love and say, I love you, pain. I love you, people I strongly disagree with. I love you, difficult times in my life and in the world, in the ongoing progress of the world. I love you because you're bringing to light where there's room for us to grow. It's a challenge. I love you, sky. I love you, moon. I love you, sunshine. You're always gone too soon. But coming around once again, so I can say once again how I love you. I love you, laughter, and I love you, change. I'm learning to say I appreciate you, pain. When you come around once again, I'll try to say once again how I love you for all that you've given for free. All of this living is happening in me. Oh, I love you, sky. I love you, stars. And I still wonder exactly what you are. At night when you rise once again, you'll hear me sing once again, 'cause I love you. Every now and again, I got to say it again. Life, I love you. call, this invitation to love all of our neighbors, as in all of creation, or everything we put our focus on, as we love ourselves, it reminds me of Genesis 1, where God is like creating stuff and it's like, oh, that is good. And then I'm gonna put a star. Oh, that is good. I love so much this image of this all-knowing, all-powerful being bringing something into reality. I mean, like, oh, that's so sweet. I did that good. You know, there's a lot of talk about manifestation. And what's coming clear to me more and more is that, yeah, I've manifested. Look, I got this whole life to show for my intentional creations and my unintentional creations. But I manifested it. This wall behind me is real as heck, and this sweater is real. And I can tell you how I got this sweater. And I can tell you how I came to be standing in front of this wall. And they are both manifestations. And you know what? This sweater is good. I love this wall. That's why I'm standing in front of it. If you ever seen that stone wall that I sometimes stand in front of, it is good. And obviously there are manifestations, things that I've brought into my existence that I'm not like all that impressed with. But what if I could say, that's good. I did that good. It hurt. It wasn't easy, but I sure learned something. I don't know, just a thought. And maybe it's one you'll accept, and maybe it's one you think is complete garbage. Take a moment, respond in the comments, and let me know what you think of this, using the words I love you as magic. Do you have a gratitude ritual that you already engage in? Can you see how using the words I love you might enhance or at least add a little spice to that? In any case, I'd love to hear from you here, or send me an email. Drop by the website and say, hey. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and let folks know if you're enjoying this conversation, if you're enjoying this music. It's my pleasure to share. And every time you share it, it makes it more available for me to continue to do so. So thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.